wrong time. I shouldn't have left you without a video to think to. I was playing. Nah, this is K Speaks. I haven't done a video in a long time. I figured I'd come back because there's been some things that's been happening and kind of getting me to think about some things that I need to talk to people about, and it might help some people out. You know, K Speaks. You should listen because why? It's gonna save you some time and money. Uh, I wanted to talk about focus. A lot of people, especially in the black community, I see this a lot, and I see this with Hispanics sometimes too. But I think a lot of times black men are behind the power curve. So this video is basically geared towards them. I mean, although it can help anybody, but it's geared towards them. Uh, Focus, the power in focus. You know, I like to give an example of the supernova versus a laser. You know, they both can have the same amount of energy. A supernova is basically a star that is pretty much exploded, right? And if you can imagine the force from that going in all these different directions, you know, it's a powerful thing. But if you could take all of that force, that energy from a supernova and focus it in one direction at one point, um, you wouldn't waste as much of the energy going in all these different places. You would have the energy focused on at one point, and if you could focus it in a laser-like direction, and have it focused on a certain point, you could burn a hole through whatever it is in no time. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I don't know if you can quite understand what I'm saying, but taking that energy and having a focus for the energy instead of having the energy going all over the place is what I'm talking about. And a lot of men are like that these days, especially in the black community. We see a lot of men chasing women instead of getting their stuff together, and I want to address that today because I think that in our community, a lot of men are taught that the man that's the most manly is the man that has the most women, and you know I kind of beg to differ. I think that the man who has the stuff together and has their things together financially and physically, spiritually, emotionally, that man maybe a lot of times they might not have the most women, but not in the beginning anyway, because in the beginning you see the thugs and all that stuff with the women. But as time goes on, if you take that energy that you would spend chasing chicks and that money that you spend chasing chicks, you could use that energy and focus on working on yourself. And in the long run, when those guys that did all that stuff, like chasing women and using that money on all that stuff, their resources on women, when their stuff is pretty much gone, you'll have amazing nest egg saved up. You'll have a career. You have a house probably. You can use that energy to work on yourself and gain financial independence and physical fitness and whatnot. And in the long run, you'll be more attractive than what they were because you'll have a lot more going for yourself. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that women are looking for stability, and I think that drives a woman more than anything. Yeah, they might take a guy who's good looking, has muscle and all that stuff, or they might even take a nerd who's intellectual and whatever. But at the end of the day, years later down the road, the woman is actually looking for a man who can provide for them. They say that they're not. We live in a day and an age where we live in the independent woman thing. But honestly, most of the women that talk all that mess, they know it's just a crock. Honestly, they say they're independent, especially if they're single mothers. Say, oh yeah, I don't need a man. I'm an independent woman. Blah blah blah. But a lot of times they're getting child support. So you ain't that independent. You still getting something from a man to support your lifestyle. But eventually these women look for, and that's all women. They want somebody who can provide for them and take care of them. See, they don't really love like we do. They're not built the same way we are, I should say. A man is taught to provide and protect, you know, and earn money and the whole nine. Even if the woman has a lot of money, they'll still expect the man to play his traditional role, provide, protect, and the whole nine. Unless they just have some scrub that they want to just dominate, and the Madden King, or the drug dealer, or the loser who has no job, but she wants to control him because she has all the money and he doesn't. That's a different situation, a different subject. But usually, if you're a working man, a working class man, whether it be middle class, whatever the case is, if you have something, you have a job or you have some form of income, they really want you to play that part. They may not want to, but play their traditional role, but they want you to play your traditional role. So my thing is focus. I think if young men would take their focus off of women in the beginning of in the early years of their life, let's say 18 to 25, I believe, and somebody once told me this, and I believe it's true. Between the ages of 18 and 21 or 22 is the foundational years of the rest of your life. What you do between those years, between 18 and 22, really sets a lot of groundwork. Not saying that completely is true in all scenarios, but most of the time, what you do between those years is the groundwork and the foundation of the rest of your life. You build off of those years. So if I can get men to listen, and if men can listen to the sound of my voice, and really get what I'm trying to say, put your effort, especially you black men, put your effort into knocking your school out. Put your effort into starting a business. Put your effort into whatever money that you're making at the time, if you are making money, into saving and investing that cash. Put your effort into your physique, your body. Um, Put your efforts into those things. Focus your efforts into yourself, um, in growing yourself as a person. Not in a narcissistic way, but growing yourself as a person, and work on yourself, because you might think you're losing a whole lot right now, but really what you're doing is you're planting a seed, and from that seed you're going to get a lot of fruit from it. So focus on your life, and focus on where you want to go in life. Don't use this energy like a supernova, and just chase girls all over the place, and just like squander your life away. Because later on in life, you're gonna be like, man, I wasted this much money. I could have been here. I could have been there. Or I chased all these girls, and then I got all these war stories to talk about and to tell you all of these stories about all these women that I've been with, or whatever. But I have nothing to show for it. I don't have a pot to pee in. If you can take that energy and just focus it on yourself and building yourself now, you'll see the fruit of that stuff later on. Especially even you Poindexters out there, you nerdy guys. The women, they're not really checking for you guys. The nice guys too. Nice guys especially. They're really not checking for you unless it's to use you up. But honestly, if you work on yourself, you get at the end of the end all for all of this is like financial stability. So if you can work on your finances and become financially free, um, work on acquiring certain things, possessions, land even. We don't hear about that in the community much these days. You don't hear about black men owning land and owning property as much as we used to. Like my great grandfather, actually all my great grandfathers, both of them. Uh, well, yeah, all of them. Of course, everybody has four. Uh, but the ones that I knew, especially when I was coming up, they lived to be like in their 80s, early 90s in age, and those men own their own property. They own a few properties. My grandfather owned properties across town, all across town, rental properties and things. They made money that way. But you don't hear in our generation the importance of owning land and owning houses and owning properties. And the generations before us, we did. And I don't know if that has to do with, us being mostly raised by mothers, single mothers, and things like that, or I really don't know what it is. I haven't really a clue as to why it's become like that. But in the generations past, people own stuff. People own properties. People own land. Um, they sold into their future, by owning things, and they knew the importance of owning their own stuff. And I think that men in general, not just black um, men in general, young men especially, need to focus their energies on things that's going to help them attain certain things that will make them more attractive and also more successful. Because what a lot of people don't know, and what a lot of people aren't told, because we lack a lot of wise men dropping knowledge onto it. And this is the reason why I do what I do, because we don't have a lot of men dropping knowledge to the youth. And and that's what's important, because back in the day, the older men told the younger men the road to take, and they told them about what the snares would be, and we don't have that these days, and that's why a lot of us are getting run amok by a lot of these narcissistic and gold digging, conniving women, and so a lot of them are not being told certain things, and so that's why I do what I do. But um, I think a lot of men would tell their young men, their sons or their grandsons, where to focus their energy and stuff in, and the importance of owning their own land and things, and that's really important. What a lot of men won't tell younger men nowadays, which they used to back in the day, is that women are always going to be around. Get the money and build yourself now, and later you have top choice of what kind of women you want, because you'll be in a position where you can pick and choose who you want. Um, and I think that's the biggest. I think that's one of the biggest nuggets, golden nuggets of truth that you could actually get. And build yourself now, acquire the things that you need to be successful, whether it be your education, whether it be working hard to advance in a job, or you building your own business, working on yourself physically, spiritually, mentally. Work on those things now, because women are always going to be around. But when you work on those things and you build yourself and you get to a certain point, they're going to even want you that much more, because you're going to be in a position where they see you as someone who can actually provide and take care of them, if that's what you want to do. A lot of men are going their own way, and I think I'm going to do that in my next video. So I want to end that now. I just wanted to put that out there. It's been a while since I did a video, and you guys definitely needed to hear Kay speaks, because when Kay speaks, like I said, you need to listen. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.